Hi everyone, welcome back to If My Heart Had Wings, the Twins Route, episode 15. And hopefully this will be the last episode in the Twins Route. So, in episode 14, it looks like the grandfather agrees to help fix the glider and fund the repairs, and more importantly, shut down Taruka Sensei, even though Taruka Sensei is still upset about this whole soaring club and the glider. So now that the glider is fixed once again, this time Yoru and Asa are flying in it because I was still injured, and at perfect timing, it looks like the morning glory is about to come. So the bluish purple sky, and now everyone's trying to get ready for this event, so they have to get up early and take off before sunrise. So right now, Aoi is cooking breakfast. So let's see how it goes from here. Well, actually, most of it had already been prepared the night before. But I started portioning it out and packing it into disposable containers for everyone. So we could just not tuck into our lunch boxes whenever we started to get hungry out there. So I prepared some lunches for the others' dorm mates. In addition to the members of the soaring club, they said they would come to cheer us on later.
おはようございます。
So while I was getting the lunches ready, the two of them come down. Oh, good morning, you two.
あ、先輩手伝いますよ。
So, I'm okay. So you're going to be fine today, so you should take it easy this morning. So be all ready for it.
でも、姉さん、ここは甘えましょう。先輩は私たちに何か従ってるんだから、それを断る方が空気読めてない。
Well, that's right. So since I could not pilot the glider, I wanted to do everything else I could. So I didn't really want them to help.
わかった。しかし先輩、これって何ですか?
So Yoru remembers that after seeing the colorful lunchbox that I had worked on to make. So I had decorated the white rice by putting toppings on it in the shape of a glider. Huh? Well, you know, you always get mad at me, so saying that my cooking is too manly, so I just wanted to try something cute for a change. Well, I don't think that's what Yoru was hoping for. It was like a cartoon lunchbox. So I even brought a special book to prepare this for today, and I studied it in secret.
先輩って極端ですよね。
Well, that's kind of overboard.
頑張ってくれたのは嬉しいですが、ちょっとキモいです。
Wait. Well, I really thought they would like it. I just think that the design made it look like they're little kids, and they're not.
小鳥ちゃん、さっきからあくびが止まらないわね。早起きは何度やっても慣れないものよね。まぶたが重たい。たるんでるんですよ、先輩は。ほら、早く行きますよ。はーい。
Okay. It's early morning. We were headed for the secret base, and the town had not yet awakened.
この時間帯の外ってなんだかちょっと不思議な感じしますよね。静かだし、肌寒いしほの暗いし、夜の闇や静けさともまた違って、確かに早朝は少しだけ神秘的よね。
Hold on, let's see what Asa says.
この時間帯の外ってなんだかちょっと不思議な感じしますよね。 異世界っぽいっていうか。
Okay. Well, I think I know what you mean, in a way. So we could not hear the sound of the cars running across the asphalt or the hustle of people in the early morning. The town really did seem like another world. So the air is also different from during the day of at night. It was fresh and new.
まあ、この時間帯に外に出る日って得てして普通ではない。どこか非日常なイベントがある時だったりするから。その補正もあってそう感じてるだけかもしれないですが。
Well, in a way, I think I know what you mean by that.
でも私、この感じ嫌いじゃないです。
Well, I don't dislike the peculiar early morning air either.
おはよう。
Okay, so Ageha's here. Good morning, Ageha.
飛び噂のメンツも来たか。
Huh? Well, you girls came early in the morning too.
悪いかい？
No, I'm glad.
本番だしね。そりゃ気になって朝から来てしまうというものだろう。
I see. So it wasn't like there was no reason to be nervous. So, forming such a club had been my dream.
じゃあ、グライダー運び出すとしましょうか。
Yeah, let's go. So after we moved the glider out to the runway, I started to check it carefully. So, to verify that the shape was not distorted from the front, the PO tube is not clogged, the release was not deformed, and there were no cracks or dents in the front of the fuselage, or front left. I checked again and again to make sure that the wheels and brakes and the rudder and the ailerons were all in perfect shape.
先輩、ちょっと確認しすぎじゃないですか？それで3回目ですよ。
So is that enough? You're going overboard. And while I was absorbed in inspecting the glider that stood there on the runway, Asa and Yoru come over. Well, I suppose it's getting late, but I need to look over it many times. But I'm sure it's good as it is. So I would be a complete wreck if something were to happen to you two. So if anything happened, I would never be able to forgive myself. So after the trauma of the accident and the other day, I was more thorough than ever with the inspection, even though I was not the one who would be flying.
ありがとうございます。
But at least you're concerned for our safety. Yeah, well, so it looks good. And when the inspection was all finished, I breathed a sigh of relief. So everything should be just fine. And apart from me, Kotori and Ageha had both looked over the glider too. And I looked just once more before getting to the winch operator.
今日は葵くんがウィンチ操作を行うんだったか。
Well, I played with everyone to let me do it, even though originally I was not supposed to do it. So I think he was supposed to fly, but he can't do that, so... Okay, I'll operate the winch.
気にする必要はないって。まあ、あの二人が飛ぶんだったら、葵くんがウィンチってのが妥当な線でしょ。
And all you have to do is flip the switch to on, so...
そうそう、息ぴったしというかね。それが妥当だと私も思うし。
Well, thanks, you two.
だから気にしなくていいってば。しっかりやってきなさいよ。頑張ってね、葵。
Okay. So even though it was just the winch, it meant a lot to me. So some people say that the winch's man job is more difficult than the pilot's. Maybe. Well, after all, the winch man has to determine whether the conditions are suitable for takeoff. and I will lead the two of them into the sky perfectly. So they were staring blankly at the glider with determined looks on their faces. So, are you nervous?
そりゃ緊張しますよ。
Yes.
私も珍しく仕方ないでしょ。
Well, I have to overcome it. Yeah, that's how it is. So the role was to go and catch a hold of the sky for us. And during the test flight, I checked Yoru's skills, so I know that she had more than enough piloting skills to handle things now. And she's totally in sync with Asa.
でも必ず届いてみせますから。
So Asa's words were full of determination. Asa had become really promising.
ええ、もちろん。先輩たちの夢はきっちりと掴んできます。
Well, we're really counting on you.
はい、当然です。
Okay?
言われるまでもなく、よろしくやってみせますよ。
And of course, Yoru is promising responding to such a confident manner.
あ、そうだ、先輩。お願いがあるんですが。
So what else?
終わったら、みんなで一緒に写真が撮りたいです。
Okay. Sure. So when you get back, we'll all take a photo together. Maybe, even if Yoru had not said so, Kotori or Ageha or me would have suggested that anyways. I wanted to hold on to those memories of being with everyone.
へえ。やるちゃん、写真も好きになった？別に、今でも好きではないわよ。ただ、たまにそういう気分にもなってるだけ。
Really? Wait, Yoru doesn't like photos?
嫌いってわけでもないですけど、どうしてあんなものを撮るのか、意味がわからなくはありました。
Well, I don't see any point with photos anyways. Well, maybe that's because there was nothing productive about that. And it sounds like Yoru.
でも、今日は撮りたい気分。それだけです。
I see. Well, I think everyone would be delighted at this change of heart.
じゃあ姉さん、点検終わってみたいだし、乗り込もう。
So the two of them were eagerly preparing for boarding. And I glanced at the two of them and then went to prepare the winch. Okay, so the winch was on the opposite side and from the glider. So the winch operator's job is to operate the winch, which allows the glider to take off. True? Okay, so I'm just going to, well, first, just like this, the glider, I need to check that the machine is operating properly. Well, I don't think there's much time before the morning glory disappears. So while I was shifting, or let's see, so while I was sitting there preparing the tow, Kanako comes over.
とうとうだね。手に汗握っちゃう。
Yeah, me too. So I haven't been able to stop sweating for a while. And even though it was actually still chilly outside, sweat kept dripping from my forehead and running down my cheeks. And if you made any mistakes operating the winch, it could be more dangerous than piloting the glider itself. And I could not allow myself to be negligent like the other day and cause another accident, so I need to stay as alert as possible. I had to take the utmost care with the check.
ギャラリーも増えてきたね。
So I could see that on the other side, you have Akari, Mabo, Anchan, Hotaru, Hibari, and everyone in the dormitory had come to see how things would do on the other day. And I wonder if Tobika Sensei is here too. Well, maybe not. So it seems as if they have come to support us. I'm grateful.
みんなが見てると勇気が出るし、力が湧く。そういうことってあるわよね。
Well, I think there's a strength in that solitude, but there's no denying that synergistic effect when groups of people gather together.
私は寂しがり屋だから、やっぱみんなの方がいいな。
So I suppose I liked it both ways, but at that time, I thought that being with the group was really great. So I like the feeling of pedaling a bike entirely solo, but I also like flying the glider that we had all worked together to create together. And there was a tremendous sense of fulfillment watching it from the ground, hoping for success.
今、どんな気分？
So strangely enough, this is scarier than flying myself. But I feel just as much as anticipation as when I'm flying myself, so I'm excited.
そっか。
Okay. Yeah, just because I could not fly, I didn't feel like it was someone else's trip at all. And even though I can't fly myself, it was still just as scary and just as fun.
はあ。とうとうあの子たちも親である私の手を離れて飛び立っていっちゃうのね。
Hey, this is not like they're really kids or anything.
そのくらい可愛いってこと。可愛い後輩。
Okay? Yeah, well, I guess so for me. They are girlfriends.
やっぱ私も最初からスワリング部付き合ってればよかったな。
Wait, so why is that?
みんな眩しいもの。楽しそう。
But aren't you dating someone right now? I don't think anyone thinks of you as an outsider.
いや、それでもやっぱ私はどっか部外者なんだよね。だから最初からいたかったなって。そう思っちゃうあたり、やっぱりこの部活はすごいよ。魅力的だと思う。
So although Kanako is supposedly singing the praises of the soaring club, it seems somehow she was really just praising me. It was a little creepy. Well, I'm really glad to hear you say such nice things about the soaring club, so thank you for everything you've done. And I felt awkward, so I just answered that way.
まあとりあえず残った時間は精一杯私も楽しんじゃうから。
Okay? Yeah, I guess so. So, let's do it.
先輩、準備が完了しました。
Okay, so we're ready for takeoff, says Yoru. So, as we were talking about, we heard Yoru announce over the radio that all the preparations for takeoff are complete. So Ageha, who was holding back the wings, gave her signal with the flags that everything outside is okay too. So both of the wings were still beautiful level. Alright, so you two, have fun.
行ってきます。
Okay, so ready? Start. I told everyone on the radio again and took the lever in my sweaty hand. So after one breath, I switched gears and began watching the timing. Okay, so hurry back now. I push the lever and start winding the cable. And the cord pulled the glider along. And the aircraft began to speed up like a fish being lugged along on a fishing line. And the wheels leave the ground. And they're off. So the glider lifted its nose, aiming for the sky. And when the aircraft was completely airborne, it begins to accelerate rapidly. And the wire led the glider into the sky like a kite on a string. So kind of like how in this route, we get to see what's like when the glider is taking off from the ground point of view. So I was not flying, but you get to see what's like when he was flying. Wow. So just as I shouted, the cable is disconnected. Yep. So the cable fell from the glider and parachute opens. And meanwhile, the aircraft angle begins to stabilize and it was gliding through the air. And as I gazed for a while, they caught the first thermal without any problems and were able to stabilize at a high altitude according to plan. Okay.
成功
So, it was good? Yep. So, it was a successful takeoff, so we'll see how it goes from here. So, I was praying that they could hold onto that corridor. Oh, so Hibari's here. Tatsuya, Hotaru, and Masatsugu. So everyone was holding their breath, closely following the trajectory of the glider.
ああ本当だやってる
And some other people.
あれが風戸さんのやつか
And just then, the two girls familiar with them come along.
あれあの子たち誰
So she's a classmate, the one that got in a fight with Yoru at Wendy's. Oh, okay, so that was way in the beginning when they were trying to invite Yoru out. But Yoru's like, boring, nothing productive, nothing special. And the girls try hard to convince Yoru but fails, and then I would have to pull Yoru out from the argument.
本当に部活やってたんだなんだ心配して損しちゃったほんと寂しそうだったから気にしてたってのにちゃんと友達いるじゃんでもすごいね風戸さん飛んでるんだうんどうやらクラスメートみたいだね
So they seem like classmates.
珍しい
So after she came back, Yoru told us that some classmates had come. And it seems like maybe Yoru's making some new friends. Okay.
いけるかな大丈夫二人を信じましょうはい
And the other boys are here.
頑張ってくれ朝ちゃん夜ちゃん
So everyone was looking at the sky, watching the fate of the glider as it praying. So the glider had caught a thermal and is gradually gaining altitude. And before I knew it, the glider was tiny, passing over the hill with the wind turbines, headed for Mount Tsukubai behind the school. So I'm counting on you, too. I shouted that towards the glider with no chance of being heard. Our thoughts those days. So I noticed at the time a strange feeling seemed to have suddenly sprouted. And now it was obvious we had gone to such pains and we refused to give up just because we were trying to aim for the morning glory. But in truth, it wasn't just that we were so caught up in ourselves, so reckless. I started to think that there was value in those activities and that time itself. So that, sophomoric work idea passed through my head. Okay, I guess. So only then did I realize. So with the bike or with the test flights the other day, the reason for my regret, for my despair and hopelessness was not that I could not achieve the objective. So it was just that I left things halfway done, that I could not properly convey the distinctions, that I lost our nice time. It was due to the sense of loss. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it's like, well, I kind of felt hurt, like we were doing well, we were going to achieve something, and then a huge blowback comes. So first was the bicycle injury, and then it was the glider injury. And it's like, well, it kind of destroyed our goal. And I felt like I just didn't want to lose that nice, bright, golden time. So, go for it, both of you! I shouted with as much power as I could muster. And I looked at the glider spreading its wings, soaring through the sky. Okay, so now we're looking at it from inside the cockpit with Asa and Yoru. So this is what is necessary. So this is what is unnecessary. So it's kind of like we're looking at Yoru's mind. I thought about what was the best choice for myself and set the most efficient schedule for each trajectory. And before I knew it, the way of thinking had become natural for me.
あの子天才だからね。家もお金持ちだし、人生イージーモードでずるっこい。
So Yoru makes flying look easy, says the other girls. And even if you lived a normal life, all the kids and adults around you would be jealous. And even though it seems nice on the surface, the jealousy of others who curse your success would always be swirling around in the bottom of your heart. And every time I saw that sort of thing, I would only think of myself and how I should try not to waste my life.
バカっぽい。
And I thought about everything that conflicted with my values, such as this. And because it's more fun like this, it's easy to understand, and it happened without hesitation. So I must be on top, I must be noble, I must eliminate waste. And I didn't hate myself, nor did I think I was wrong. I still didn't think so, but still.
鳥はどうして空を飛ぶのだろう。
And she kind of wonders the big question that the grandfather has. Well, they fly because they can. So, to be a sign. And that does not seem so surprising to me now. Well, I mean, birds don't think much about what is best for people on the ground. And when I thought about that, I felt like a fraud. I feel cramped. Wrong. So it's not like that. So birds,
好きだから飛ぶんだ。
okay?
え？そうよ。好きだから飛ぶのよ。何ヨルちゃん。いいの。気にしないで。
So it's like, oh, well, I'm just trying to answer my question, and you don't have to worry about it.
そんなこと言われたって気になるよ。
But I wonder. So riding the thermals, we aim for the waves radiating from the ridge of Mount Tsukubai. And as far as I could tell, it would normally be pretty difficult to catch the airflow around the point to reach the cloud corridor. However, if we rode the mountain waves radiating from Mount Tsukubai, it might be possible. And mountain waves are the waves of air produced by the wind blowing over the mountains. Below that is the rotor-shaped swirling turbulence. The mountain waves are not necessarily always produced, but they must have been relevant to the Morning Glory's formation, so it was almost certain that they were occurring on that day. And if we could catch the turbulence just right and enter into the ascending portion,
命って軽
so
かったんだ。
like this.
え？大事だけど軽いもの。だからきっと空も飛べるの。命の重たさに引きずられすぎると人生の設計に埋没しちゃうと。そうだよね。
Okay? See if I missed anything from Yoru.
大事だけど軽いもの。だからきっと空も飛べるの。命の重たさに引きずられすぎると人生の設計に埋没しちゃうと。そんな単純なことも忘れちゃう。
Okay.
夜ちゃん、なんなのさっきから。すごくポエマーだけど。ちょっとそう思っただけ。新しい発見よ。そういうものがまた見つかっただけ。なんだか夜ちゃんが怖い。先輩が映ったのかもね。
So birds fly because they like to. They like it so much, they just have to fly. And people can fly so their lives are not always so heavy. And that's just it, I'm sure.
まあ、なんだかわからないけど、よかったってことだよね。そう、よかったってこと。
Well, it's not bad because I found the answer to something that was vexing me to no end. And eventually, we reached the rotor-like turbulence.
行くわよ、姉さん。気流をつかむわ。頑張って。
Okay, let's go for it.
姉さんも頑張るのよ。
Well, you're going in too.
何を？応援を。
So cheer me on.
わかった。頑張って、夜ちゃん。頑張れー。
So I practiced flying in turbulent many times, like in the simulator, and I was used to air that was not calm. But now they're feeling it, and it might be difficult. So we still had a relatively stable pitch, so it would not be a problem.
姉さん、ちょっと黙って集中できない。
So I gotta concentrate.
夜ちゃんが応援しろって言ったのに。
So I didn't pay any attention to my sister complaining. I was just skillfully repeated the glider's controls. Okay, so you go like this then.
掴んだ。
So the crash shook once, really dramatically, and then began swaying a little, but the vibrations stopped. So we had successfully caught the ascending current and were climbing the mountain waves. Okay!
夜ちゃん。
And the glider had started to float up as if we were riding in an elevator.
これ、ヘブリフトってやつ？さ、見て、姉さん。高度計の針も面白い感じで上がってるわ。すっごい。
So we were getting further and further away from the ground and further into the sky amongst the clouds. And then, pretty soon, so what happened next?
夜ちゃん、あれ？
It's coming. Okay, so the glider reaches out our target altitude and we can see the silhouette of the morning glory in the distance. So it looks like they made it. So this is what our seniors were aiming for, or senpais. So the corridor of clouds called the morning glory had become the whole purpose of the club.
姉さん、唖然としてる。
And you're starting to be amazed.
だって大きいんだもん。
So a huge path of wind drawn in the rotating airflow through the arch of the clouds.
すっごーい。
Well,
夜も。
so light comes shining from the eastward sky. The sun is rising, staining the sky in golden hues. The silhouette of the huge cloud is sparkling. And I was thrust into a state of reverie by the majestic sea.
訪問の時間。
Wow, so this is it. So I just sort of muttered it without even thinking.
夜ちゃん、今度は何？
So any problems?
なんでもない。 姉さん行くわよ。
Okay, so let's go then.
うん。
So I push down the stick, aiming for gold.
着いた。
And now they are there. It was a mysterious sight, almost like a fairy tale world.
モーニングクローリー。
And somehow I feel like I'm going to cry. It was like a cloud on the ground, like another world existing in a different layer of reality.
きれい。この上歩いていけそうだね。絨毯みたい。姉さん降りてみる？
Okay, so you want to have the controls?
無理死んじゃうよ。
Well, I can't do it. So the white carpet of clouds stretched out, reflecting the orange and bright golden hues. And the moment I saw it, those words come into my mind.
Nothing gold can stay.
And the words that the grandfather emphasized. So nothing gold can stay.
え？見つけた。そうか。そうだったんだ。何か？夜ちゃんさっきからどうしたの？姉さん、私見つけた。おじいちゃんのくれた刺繍のお気に入りの言葉の意味。それが分かったの？
So at this time, I'm sure it does not have an objective meaning. It was no big drama, no dramatic change in our relationship, no word-shaking development. But still, but to me, it means a lot. I mean, this is all it was.
大事なもの見つけた。よくわからないけど、それは良かったってことだよね。良かったってこと。
And there was no major drama in this discovery. So it was a major drama for me though. So before, when I was just longing for the sky with no good reason, not for the sake of any competition, I found a new sense of self that had been asleep in the depths of my heart. So self-conscious generates in its own values, and if it's energy, just like my grandfather said, a limited expression of valuable heat. So to thrive on this view that I see now before me, but I produce nothing new, like the windmills that produce energy from the wind. And I thought that would be good.
安定してるね。ずっと飛んでられそう。ここだと多分しばらくはそんな感じよ。
So this huge pane of clouds was created by the rotating airflow. And if we got into the ascending part of the rotation, even though it was a glider with no power, we could stay aloft as long as we wanted to. Okay. So following the airflow born of the sky, flying around the world of gold.
じゃあ運転変わる？
Okay, so you want to have the controls now?
こんなとこで？
So it's like, well, this place is stable. You won't have to worry about falling out of the sky because all the winds are keeping this morning glory clouds intact for a while. And we can use that to keep the glider in stable flight.
疲れたのよ。ここまで持ってくるのに。着陸のこともあるし、ちょっと休憩したいの。
And I gotta save my energy for landing.
というか、そのために姉さん乗せてきたんじゃない。そうだけど。
Well, I guess.
大丈夫。気流も風も安定してるし、難しいことは何もないから。それに、万が一トラブルが起きて何かあったら、私がすぐに変わるわ。
There you go. It's like, and also, if we do lose our stability, I can always come back and correct it.
じゃあ、わかった。
So I passed the controls to my sister, who was still sitting in the back seat. And initially she was nervous, but she regained her composure quickly, befitting this peaceful space, and I'm grateful to get to rest for a bit. I got to gaze out at the morning glory as a passenger for a while.
当たり前のようにあるもの、いつか当たり前じゃなくなって、やがて振り返ることしかできなくなる。黄金の時間は二度と戻らない。今日すっごく独り言多いね。ナルシズムに浸ってるのよ。新しい価値観が生まれたからそれに酔ってるの。
So she just responded with some ambiguous grunt, so I was not sure if she really understood or not.
私は空を飛べてよかった。
But at least we got to fly.
ずっと地を張ってばかりだったから、こんなに高いとこに来れて、こんなに綺麗な景色が見られてすごく嬉しいの。ちょっとだけ世界を見返してやれた気分。ヨルちゃんにはわからない感情だと思うけどね。ごめん、ほんと私にはわからないや。
Well, I guess I don't understand.
才能ある人はいいですね。そうね、私は才能に満ち溢れているから。
But I can't understand. Well, you mean because some people get so caught up with it and you have been suffering as a result. And that's why I was longing for the sky.
私に理由なんてなかったのよ。先輩の言ってた通り。
Well, I guess it's hard to feel, or like it's hard to describe it, but you just feel it.
私にとっての空って結局そういうこと。自分にとって今まで持ち合わせたことのない感情だったから手に入れて戸惑ってしまっただけ。そうなのよね。そしてそれこそが私にとって今しか手に入れることのできない大切なものだったんだ。
So because I'm always calculating and always thinking about meanings. And even though there was no need to think, I just kept on thinking about things like this.
つまり賭けになしに私は空を飛べてよかったってこと。それだけソアリング部が好きってこと。
So I found something special for me in the soaring club.
じゃあヨルちゃんも正式に入部だね。
So we join now?
そっか、そういえば。
Well,
ヨルちゃんまだちゃんと入部してないよ。もう誰も気にしてないけど。そうね。着陸したら考える。
well, I'll think about it. So it's probably not so bad, that sort of thing. It may be a waste of time, but if it's fun, well, if I like this sort of thing, I guess it's inevitable.
あ、そうだ。みんなに連絡しないと。
So we've been talking to each other for too long, so it's time to let other people know what's going on.
忘れてた。じゃあ私が無線入れるわね。
Okay.
よろしく。ここでもきちんとつながるのかな。大丈夫のはずよ。
Well, I'm sure they can connect. So I switch on the radio. Well, first, Aoi. And somehow I thought about Aoi first. So what should I say then? So we flew through the morning glory. We finally did it. Yeah, so we had to tell him that we had gotten here with the help from everyone. It was our role. But then...
葵先輩、今モーニンググローリーの上を飛んでます。無事目的達成ってやつです。それで
And
鳥が飛ぶ理由は分かりました。黄金の時間も見つけました。つまり
So without a hint of shame, I told Aoi things things that were so embarrassing that would make the average person feel ill. And things that came to me through the club that was.
青春見つけました。
So youth is a precious heat. Okay, so this is the credits, and I'm gonna go ahead and skip this, and we're gonna see how the twins route ends. Well, for the Yoru portion, or the true route for the twins. So let's see what the epilogue is like. So hold on for a minute. Okay, so we're now at the epilogue for the twins route, and let's see how it goes. So it's been 1 year since that Morning Glory flight. So just before summer vacation, we had just gotten our finals back and looked over them. The morning classes were over, and just after we ate lunch at Wendy's, we were heading to the club. And we held our activities at the secret base as usual. So the club is still up and running.
じゃんけんで決めましょう。
So what are they deciding on?
ダメだよ。だってヨルちゃん私が出す点分かってるじゃない。
But along the way, the two of them always disagreed for some reason or another. Well, they're still opposites.
それに昼食はヨルちゃんの希望通りつけ麺にしてあげたんだから、ここは私に譲ってくれてもいいと思うな。あら姉さん、それとこれとは話は別だし、昼食と色恋沙汰をごっちゃにしないで。
Okay, so whose turn is it to go with Aoi?
3人で何かをするという意味では一緒だよ。だから先輩の手は私のもの。
So who gets to cling on to Aoi?
ダメ。それは認められない。
So the two of them were fighting over who gets to walk with me to the club activities, holding hands. Somehow, it was like something I had seen once before. Well, after all, our relationship has not really changed a bit since then. Okay, enough already. So both of you, you've argued about this already. I can just take one hand from each of you. Can I?
私たち気づいたんですよ。それじゃあ根本的な解決になっていないということに。
Well, I know that's a solution, but...
そうです。それって結局、せっかく手をつないでるのに、先輩は半分ずつしか所有できていないということになってしまうじゃないですか。
So I want Aoi senpai all to myself. No, I'm just lending you the hand anyways. It's not as if I'm forking it over to you for keeps. And besides, it's sort of a prerequisite to date me simultaneously in the first place, isn't it?
トータルで見ればそうです。でも、今話してるのはもっと瞬間的な話です。
Wait, momentary?
そうです。瞬間的には独占したいんです。私のことだけ見ている時間も欲しいんです。
There you go.
女の子ってそういうもんです。なのでじゃんけんしようと思うんです。ね、姉さん。だからじゃんけんは私が負けるからダメだって。
Oh, come on. So, well, how about if I hold hands with one of you and then you switch to the other halfway? So, just switch. So, what do you say? Or maybe just one of you today and then the other one next time. Can't.
確かにそっちの方がいいですね。問題はどっちが先に手をつなぐか。
Okay, so who goes first?
先輩、どっちの方が長く手をつなげますか？
I don't know. I haven't decided. So now more rock, paper, scissors.
先輩、公平を期すためにもここから目的地までの距離をきっちりと2等分してください。
Well, I can't do that. So how am I supposed to measure it? So at lunchtime, I had to choose who to eat with, or afterwards, who to walk with to the club. And if I could measure precisely, maybe they would have any reason, or will not have any reason to argue. So they probably started fighting, let's see, prenatal, instead of a normal conversation, just a good fight over something non-inconsequential. And when I got swept into it, I was always a little annoyed at one hand, but kind of happy in a way too. So it wasn't as if I didn't like that kind of relationship.
結局最後までつなげなかった。
So I think Yoru won, and she pretty much hogged Aiwi most of the way through.
結局先輩が距離を把握しきれなかったのがダメでしたね。
You can say that, but how am I supposed to know? So we're right at the destination in the middle of our argument.
しかし、そろそろ真剣に考える必要があると思うんですが。
Well, you'll have to decide how to deal with us at some point. Wait, for what?
こうやって3人で付き合ってますけど、日本って重婚ができないわけじゃないですか。だから、その問題を解決しなきゃいけないと思うんです。
Well, there's no way to solve it, is there?
いっそ海外に行っちゃうというのはどうでしょうか。重婚が認められている国に国籍を移せば。
So that's one kind of a tricky answer.
じゃんけんで戸籍上の相手を決めるとか。だからそれだと私が負けちゃうからダメ。
So no more of that rock, paper, scissors, because I'm gonna lose. Well, I don't suppose prior to that you would want to decide who will be my bride with rock, paper, scissors.
そこまで言うならじゃんけんの癖直せばいいのに。
Well, if you want to win, then you should practice and be better with your skills.
すぐに直せないから困ってるんだもん。じゃあ私が勝つだけよ。だからじゃんけんで決めるのはなし。
So you're not going even to ask me that my opinion. Well, I mean, like, what do you think of my marriage or something like that? But it was still a little early. But what would I do if that time really comes and I had to talk with them about choosing a marriage partner? I couldn't choose. Yeah.
しかし、どうやら私たちが一番乗りみたいですね。
It does. Still, no one is coming to the secret base. I suppose if we went to the sweet shop for lunch, we would be in line forever and end up being late.
ウィンディーにある高くて行列作ってるところですか？
So what other places can we go? There. So we had decided to go before, and it seems everyone was looking forward to it. Everyone had been really tense since that morning. Anyways, it could be a treat for all the hard work we had put into our tests.
今日はバイトないからって張り切ってきたのに。みんな遅いってなんだか損した感じですね。やるちゃん、本当に部活熱心になったよね。お父さんたち帰ってきたら性格変わったって驚きそう。容易にオーバーリアクションが予想できるからしばらくは会いたくないわね。
Well, you talk about him a lot, but I'm really curious about what your parents are like.
変な人たちですよ、きっぱりと。
Well, they're smart, they're crazy in the research, and they're kind of weird. The two of them started part-time jobs. The thing that sparked that was we needed to pay back for the chairman for the money he had lent us last year for the repairs. Okay, so, well, you guys start working to cover those costs. So naturally, I was working to... Actually, Kotori and Agiha and everyone else in the soaring club was working, so as a result, we were able to pay back the money in just 2 months. And the chairman didn't say a word, even though he had lent us quite a lot. Well, anyways, the two of them continued working even after we had repaid them. the depth. Apparently, they had realized the joy of hard work.
そういえば先輩、テストの結果どうでした？
So anyways, how did you do on your test? I did okay. So not good, not bad. So I did better than the class average, but not by much. So it's rather a lackluster result. So it's probably like a C+. It was probably much business as usual for me.
じゃあ、私と同じくらいですね、多分。
Yeah, so I'm kind of like in that range, so C, C+. So how about you, Yoru?
世界史と科学がそれぞれ1問ミス。あとは全部満点。
Well, I did excellent, so I only missed 2 questions in total, and I aced some exams, so I'm like an A+. Huh? So I accidentally responded in a goofy voice.
ま、当然の結果ね。
Well, then again, that's how I always score, so...
夜ちゃん、だんだん成績上がってるよね。まあ、天才ですから。なんだか調子いいんですよね、最近。バイトや部活のおかげで生活サイクルがしっかりしてるのがいいのかもしれません。
Well, I do feel that the club has helped me in many different ways, so I'm able to do even better in class, even though I don't realize it. So recently, she had been working part-time, coming to the club activities and hanging out with Asa and me at night, so I wonder how she found any time to study. Well, I'm sure Yoru already knows the subjects very well, and it doesn't really take much for her to be all refreshed for the exam, so she was definitely a sharp kid. And anyways, the others had still not come, so we decided to have a seat and wait for them. And then I happened to notice that there was a photo placed on the center of the table as a decoration. It was the group photo that we had taken with everyone last year when they got back from their flight.
懐かしいですよね、それ。珍しく、夜ちゃんが写真撮りたいなんて言い出してね。なんだかそういう気分になっちゃったのよ。いいじゃない、別に。
So one of your few rare photos. Well, photos really are pretty cool. Just looking at this, all the excitement of that time comes back. But at some point, there will be a next time. So next time I get a chance, I want to see that scene for myself. So when the next morning glory comes, I want to go up there myself. And that's what I wanted.
お待たせ、みんな。
So everyone else is here?
ああ、やっぱ待たせちゃってたか。ごめんね。よーし、部活の時間だ。
So everyone else is here. And that day, we're going to practice with the actual glider. So first, we need to carry it out to the runway.
さあ、先輩。
So let's go.
部活、始めますよ。
I went over there so the two of them could carry the glider. Kotori, Ageha, and Kanako all put down their things and went over to the glider. I got up too and followed everyone. And these are the photos that they took last year on the table. So our youth is still continuing. So they leave the photos behind for now. And with that in mind, this is the end of the twins route. Or, to be specific, the Yoru portion of the twins route. Or I call it the true route. So anyways, my thoughts
こ
about
の大空に翼を広げて。
So my thoughts about this twins route. So it was a little bit strange to have Ioe date two girls, but then again, it was the best compromise that they could come up with. And we can see the difference between Asa and Yoru and what they could get out of the soaring club. So for Asa, she was all upset about, well, I can't do anything. I'm like this average person, even though I'm born in a family with a lot of success and wealth. But she does have one thing that makes her stand out. It's that she does have all these dreams and ideas and feelings. Whereas for Yoru, despite being smart, she doesn't really have much feelings and such, and that's why she couldn't really get along with anyone else. And by being in this soaring club, Yoru also learns some interesting feelings and emotions, and she can understand what it means for nothing gold can stay, and like, why do birds fly? And for Asa, well, she likes flying and she likes to be in the sky, and this club helped make Asa's dream come true. So we do know that the twins didn't really make much of an appearance in the common route until in the second portion when Amane graduates and the soaring club garage gets demolished by Tobioka Sensei. And since we're going off on a route with characters that Aoi doesn't really know very well, we get to see more of the history of the twins. And they did get their inspiration from, well, not Katori and Isuka, but from the grandparents. And I think he was probably like the person who started it all. And I'm guessing, well, when they later left the soaring club in dust, Isuka later picked it up, and I'm guessing that they were the grandfather went to the Morning Glory in the past. Well, maybe. And that's where the original photo came from. So anyways, if you haven't checked out, you can look at the other routes for If I Heart Wings. But I'm not going to start the Flight Diary fan disc very soon, and I know that these twins also have a route, and maybe Kanako. So it's kind of interesting as well that Kanako got to play a bigger role in this route, given that, well, Aoi does meet her very early in the visual novel, and she's been on and off helping Aoi in some ways and getting the annoyance out of him because she's always in her underwear. But anyways, with all that in mind, I'll see you in a future playthrough on a future game.